I'm Nitin Sawhney and I'm a composer, and I write music for film and television and theatre and video games and all kinds of things. And make albums as well. I mean, I've been writing music since I was a little kid, so when I was 4 or 5 years old, I used to just muck around with different ideas. So if I was playing through Bach two-part inventions, I'd play with them, or if I was playing around with ideas in jazz, I used to listen a lot to Miles Davis, and I used to play flamenco guitar and so on when I was a kid, but I also played a lot of classical music, so I used to always just play around with ideas, really. I think music is really the emotional narrative that runs through a program. It really gives power to the subtext behind what the images you're looking at, and it really kind of amplifies the drama and the psychological aspects of what you're feeling and what you're getting from the stories and the character development. It depends what you're doing. I mean, if you're doing fiction, then obviously there's a lot of character development that you kind of perhaps are working alongside. But at the same time, if you're doing documentary work, it's really amplifying what's already there, and using music to actually really add an extra sense of drama rather than perhaps letting the documentary just be too flat. Music for me is a device to get people to understand or empathise with what's going on screen. I mean, I've kind of worked quite extensively with the BBC. The BBC have commissioned me to do a lot of music for films, and a long time ago, before I wrote the music for the Human Planet series, I'd already worked with the BBC Bristol unit, working on a wildlife kind of I suppose a kind of series of montages, which was a collection of images from some of their different series they'd had. So I kind of wrote some music for the BBC Concert Orchestra before, but I've also worked on many different dramas with them as well, and I've actually had lots of diverse experiences as well. I mean, I did comedy at one point, and as a comedian, well, not a comedian, kind of comedy actor, in a program called Goodness Gracious Me, which I was one of the creators of with the original team. So I kind of have had a lot of different types of experience with the BBC, and they also, I've also been an artist in my own right for the traditional proms for the BBC, as well as the electric proms. So I've had my own electric proms and traditional ones at the Royal Albert Hall. So I've kind of had a very extensive relationship with them, and I got a couple of the BBC World Music Awards as well from Radio 3. So yeah, lots of things really. I think the BBC has done amazing things across the world.